Yes, Siri, what is it?
You should tell the students about the
Audio Recording Studio.
You're right!
Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Mike's Epic Podcast. Today we're in the recording studio and we're talking about how to set up the digital recorder to use these awesome mics for your podcast and other voiceover. So let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do is log into the computer here, and this computer is connected to the VCT student server but not to the Edit Sans server. So you're going to have to transfer stuff either through your home folder or the VCT student folder or your OneDrive. When you launch GarageBand through the launch pad, it may take a little while to load in preferences the first time you load it. So you might want to sit down and do that first because it's going to go through some setup. But it's also going to say, hey, I've got all these instruments. What is the administrator's name and password? Well, we don't have that, so we're not using that. We're just recording some things. We're not doing the loops. So we're just going to click on cancel and get to the essential setup. We're going to start a new project, and we want to start an empty project. So empty project here in the menu, click on choose. Once we've got that set up, we may have to go back and do some new tracks and things like that. For now, just select no input and click on create and get that set for now. Now we're going to turn our attention to the digital recorder here. So maybe while that's still processing for you, what we're going to do, this is our Zoom F8, which is quite an awesome device. Not only will it record 8 tracks out in the field to SD cards, it also will function as a recording interface to connect with GarageBand. So let's power this on. The power button's over here in the corner. Push and hold that on until it's green and then it powers on. We're going to have to go through a few menu selections to get it to be in the interface mode. And let that start up. So right now it's in the field recording mode. The menu button here is in the middle. Press that. And this is the selection dial. So we're going to turn this to move this down to, all the way down to USB. Because we're plugged in with a USB cable. This dial then makes the selection, and then we press it straight in to make that selection. Dial down to select audio interface, press to select. Dial down to select multi-track, press select. Now this should have already running phantom power to the microphones. I've got the 3 microphones from our setup. Here, why don't you do a wide shot, Caleb. So here's our audio room. We've got 3 microphones and they're labeled 1, 2, and 3 for the input. I've got this one here. It's labeled number 1. And we want to record all of these at the same time to multiple tracks in GarageBand. In the multi-track recorder, I've got these 1, 2, 3 inputs armed for recording. That is, they're activated by pressing the number of that track. And you can tell that it's on then because the red light is on. And these dials in the front are the gain and volume adjustments. So we can do those adjustments and we'll be able to use the adjustments in GarageBand. Now it looks like we have some audio meters coming through here. And as I talk into the microphone, I can see that that's spiking up really hot in level 1. So let me turn that down a little bit. Turn that down right in here. And just like all of our other recordings, we want to be at about a minus 12 decibel. Green is good, red is bad. So we'll turn all these down a little bit, like that. And we'll talk into the microphone and do a test. So with enthusiasm, we're still a little bit high, but we'll see what happens in GarageBand. With this powered on and connected to GarageBand, bring our surface up to here, our shot up to here, we want to go into the GarageBand preferences. And the second item here, are you zoomed in, Caleb? Yeah. Second item here, audio video, we want to change, if it doesn't do it automatically, we want to change the input to this F series multi-track USB audio. Leave the output device the way it is, to built-in output. So whatever's the system, built-in output is going to come through the speakers on the iMac. Close that. Now, this track we created was set up to have no input. Robert, why don't you pull up we have an extra chair? You're going to do audio track 2 for me. Okay, so what I want to do is select this one, select this track, and we're going to go under track and delete that track. And let's start over now with creating new tracks for each of our 3 inputs. I'm going to select input number 1 because it knows that we have 3 inputs in our multi-track and microphone. Click create. I'm going to add 2 more. Input 2. Click on the plus button. Input 3. There we go. So we've got 3 inputs. We can give these a voice setting. So click on it once from our settings over here. We're going to turn that button here to bring this up. Click on voice. And I think narration is probably the best one. Some of these other ones have too much reverb and things like that. So let's change each of these to narration, voice, narration. Now, if these are not visible, the arm for recording, what we want to do is go under track, header, show record enable button. That's going to open up this record enable button for all of these. We want to click on each of these so that all of these are going to be recording. And we don't want to get a lot of crisscross across these, so I might turn these gains down a little bit. So here's a test 1, 2, testing in track 1. So you can see the green light coming forward, the green audio meter is coming forward here for track 1. Robert, why don't you go talk into track 3?
Testing, track 3, testing. This is track 3.
Yep, so we can see that one responding on track 3. Now what we're going to want to do is do a little more testing, and we can do some adjustments here. Different people have different strengths of voice. You want to make sure, over here, Caleb. These mics have a cushion holding, a little shock absorber holding, and you want to talk straight into the microphone from the side like this. In fact, if you look inside there, you can see the condenser sensor right inside the microphone. So you want to be nice and close and talk. It's kind of like a radio show. You got to look past the arm here to talk to one another about your podcast. So nice and close and with enthusiasm. So let's try a recording, shall we? We've got our playhead at the beginning. Here's our playhead. Put our playhead at the beginning. Click on record. And I can hear the stop. Turn off the count in. We don't need that. So let's select all these are selected. Delete that. Go back to the beginning and hit record. So now we're talking to the microphone. How you doing, Robert?
Doing pretty well today, thank you.
Get a little bit closer.
A little bit closer?
Yeah, a little bit closer.
Okay.
Just like the song. Okay, so how's your day going?
It's going pretty well. Got
Good.
a lot to do today, but we're on track. So
Okay, try not to knock your fingers on the table there. Okay, so as we can see on the screen, sorry, Caleb, go back over to the screen here. We can see on the screen that the different tracks are recording. So I'm recording,
and now I'm recording.
and we can talk back and forth. We want this to be about this size. You don't want to get so close that it's distorting and clipping the top of the track. You don't want to see that. But you want it to be somewhere in the middle there. So Robert, talk a little bit more.
What to talk about? Well, today we have some plans of recording our interviews. We're going to go over to the Nest on West Campus and conduct some interviews, talking to people from different generations if we can find them, maybe in their 20s and 30s, and then hopefully find people in their 40s or 50s. We might have to find some instructors to do that, but yeah.
Okay, very good. So I was adjusting, and for a little time period there, I was got Robert too hot and distorted, but found at about, well, it looks like these dials are at about 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock on the dial to get the right volume. So then what we're going to do is click on the play button here or the stop button here. We've got this now recorded. So one of the tricky things, just to recap, is you want to make sure in the preferences, the audio tab here is set input device to the F series multi-track. You want to make sure that the arm for recording, all of these are clicked and red and blinking. And you want to make sure that these dials down here on the unit, these 3 tracks are enabled and registering some audio level on there too, and then you can adjust it with those dials. Once we're completed, then you can save your project, of course, for editing. We're going to do a save. Let's call this a test. First time you launch GarageBand, it'll probably have this abbreviated save document or save menu. Expand it with that button here. Turn off the hide extension. Here's our test.band. So it's a GarageBand document. By default, it's going to save it into your music folder in the GarageBand folder. You can also save it to the desktop. And then from there, you'll transfer it to your home folder for your user that comes up on the desktop. So there you go. Have a lot of fun. Hopefully this is equipment that you can use a lot and create some podcasts. Get out there on the interwebs. All right, thanks. See you next time.